Welcome back, Joe Brunsman, Insurance Broker to the Stars. Today is story time and why having your own cyber attorney is probably a really good idea. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Now, before we begin, I have to apologize. You will notice I might get a little heated when I talk about this, but I am still annoyed at this particular circumstance, and I think it'll become clear as to why that is. So around, say, late 2019, I think early 2020, I get a phone call from the managing partner of an accounting firm. And he goes, Joe, I got a problem. I need your help. And I'm like, sure, what's going on? And he says, well, it looks like every couple of days we're having another client call us saying they got their identity stolen. And we just don't know what to do. Now, we've already gone out and we paid for our own forensics firm. They did a full analysis of our system. And as far as they can tell, nothing was exfiltrated from our system. It doesn't look like our system's been compromised. There's no credentials out there that have been stolen or sold anywhere that would facilitate that kind of theft. So we just don't know what to do. We just keep having a new client every couple of days call us. We want to take care of these people, but we don't know what to say. We don't know how to move forward. Can you help us? Now, the first thing I told them was, you shouldn't have paid for your own forensics firm. That should have been covered under your own cyber insurance policy. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get the cyber insurance company involved with this. We need to have the forensics guys come in, an attorney assigned from a third-party law firm to assist you. And we're going to start working from there, see if there's some sort of, public relations person that can assist you, maybe some crisis management, potentially a call center. It just depends on how this is going to play out. But the first thing we need to do, like I said, is just get that claim submitted to the cyber insurer and start moving forward. So that's what I do. I submit the claim. I get an email that I'm CC'd on. Hey, this claim has been accepted. The claims specialist at the cyber insurance company will be contacting you moving forward, blah, blah, blah. And then it's kind of a toss-up. Depends on the company, depends on the claim specialist at the cyber insurance company on if they CC me on stuff or not. So a couple weeks later, I get another phone call from my client. And due to the flow of events, according to their claims specialist, there's been no attorney provided to them. As far as it sounds from the client side, there's just nothing on that cyber policy that's going to assist them. So with that, they're pissed because now they're saying, Joe, you said this was supposed to be covered. Like, you're the cyber insurance guru guy. Like, what's going on here? So then here comes Joe. And at first, I'm kind of confused because I'm like, what is the fact pattern here that wouldn't provide coverage? So, I'm just trying to hold it together because I'm looking at the state breach notification laws. I'm looking through the policy language. Everything I'm seeing says there's no possible way, there's no reasonable circumstance where this claim would be denied. Like, what is the cyber insurance company doing here? So now I'm just trying to hold it together. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just missing something. So I start calling all the smartest people I know in this industry, a bunch of attorneys. And I'm like, guys, am I missing something here? Like, what's going on? Like, this is why I think it should be covered. This is the exact policy language. This is the circumstance as far as I know. Like, what would you do? And they just were kind of bewildered. And they said, dude, we don't know what's going on, but from what you're telling us, this should be covered. So I end up calling the claim specialist. Now, a claim specialist at a cyber insurance company, generally those are also attorneys. Don't confuse that with the third-party attorney that gets provided following a breach. But they're really just working at the insurance company, analyzing policy language, saying, okay, is this covered or is this not covered? So I call the guy who is apparently, at least in title, the complex claims specialist. And his answer was, nope, this is not covered. So now I'm livid. I'm pissed. Now, why is Joe so pissed off here? Well, here's why Joe got so pissed off. First of all, the policy language clearly supported the position of my client that this was supposed to be a covered claim. Now, this was not like some legal magic mumbo jumbo. It wasn't me saying, hey, this term isn't adequately defined and I think we can wiggle in coverage here, or there's a semicolon somewhere instead of an apostrophe, whatever. No, it wasn't any of that. Like, this was not me putting on, Joe is a brilliant insurance guy hat. which I don't have anyways. No, it was very straightforward and clear. The breach notification laws were very clear. The policy language was very clear. The complex claims specialist guy, his position was, dude, this isn't covered. This is a business dispute between the accounting firm and whoever their vendors would be, but we're not on that risk. That's not contemplated under this policy. So then I try to explain to him, dude, this is exactly what the policy language says. And I sent him an email. This is verbatim from the policy. This is chapter and verse right here. This is data holder versus data owner. This clearly says like, hey, if it's their legal responsibility that the insurance company's on the risk, these third-party vendors, those are just data holders. The actual data owner is the accounting firm, and that includes the data of the accounting firm's clients. It doesn't matter what vendor this got breached at, although we need to figure this out. We need an attorney to help that. But at the end of the day, the AG isn't going to bring a $100,000 lawsuit against tax software company. They're coming after my client. Like, what are you doing here? And as far as the complex claims specialist guy was aware, he didn't even know that existed, the difference between data holder and data owner. Now, if you're watching this video, I'll put a link up above kind of describing the difference between data holder and data owner as it relates to an MSP, because that's important. And there's some very good reasons for why that distinction is there. But suffice to say, if you're the complex claims specialist guy, that distinction, as far as I know, is in every single state and territory breach notification law. Like, this is not some new area of cyber law. Like, this is very fundamental to how the whole system operates. And the fact that he didn't know that and he wanted to know where I got that information just blew my mind. I mean, it's hard for me to explain to you just how insanely pissed I was at this guy. Now, it turns out the guy, he's just an idiot. And frankly, in full disclosure, he's the only human being in my entire life, in 36 years, I've actively tried to get fired, because this guy is just so off the ball, so uninformed. I can't even imagine the damage that he has done to other companies that aren't my clients, that don't have an insurance guy that actually knows what this law says, that's willing to look at the policy. I think 99% of insurance guys, if they get a letter and it says, hey, this claim is denied, they just shrug and they say, hey, I'm really sorry. You're going to have to deal with this on your own. I don't think there's a lot of insurance guys who are out there, quoting chapter and verse on insurance law to fight for their clients. So that's why I was like, this guy's got to go. I mean, he's just an idiot. He should not be there. The fact that he's the complex claims, like, he can't even do rudimentary claims. But nonetheless, I'll get off my soapbox there. I'm sorry. So to make all of this worse, not only was this guy an idiot, he just couldn't return emails, couldn't return voicemails, couldn't return text messages. I just couldn't even get a hold of this guy. So now I'm just getting more and more frustrated. And meanwhile, my client, more importantly, they're getting frustrated, because this whole time, that drip of clients coming to them saying they got their identity stolen, that hasn't let up whatsoever. So now they keep calling me going, dude, what's going on, Joe? Like, what's happening here? And I'm saying, I look like a fool, because I'm like, I can't even get this guy to return my phone call. Like, I have no idea what's going on. So finally I get a hold of the complex claims specialist guy, and I'm livid. And essentially what I tell him is, to put it nicely, listen, you don't like me and I don't like you. I don't think you are in any way, shape, or form to quit for this job. So give me the contact information of your immediate supervisor. I'll just talk to that person, because that's the person that's in charge of claims for your cyber insurance company. I'm going to take my case to them, because this is so straightforward. Like, I just have nothing else to say to you. Like, you're obviously not reading what I'm sending you. You're not returning any of my communications. And my client is the one that's going to get hammered at the end of the day if we're late with any potential breach notification that has to go out the door. So then he never even sends me his boss's information. Finally, I go around him. I go to another person I know at that insurance company. I'm like, hey, this is the case of what's going on. I need to know who this guy's is, who is his boss, so that I can take the case to them. And I finally get a hold of his boss, and I say, okay, this is the circumstance that's going on. This is exactly why, chapter and verse, line by line, I go through it. This is why he is 100% wrong and my client needs to get help immediately. Now, to her credit, she did go, no, that's not how it works, but I'll take a look at it. So now I'm still annoyed, but I'm like, all right, maybe she doesn't know. She hasn't read the policy, whatever the case may be. I was like, well, I'll send you an email with what our position is. Can you just get back to us within like a day or two and tell us what the finale is going to be? So finally she gets back to me and she goes, hey, you know what? Our bad. Our complex claims specialist guy, we're going to give him some extra training. It turns out this actually was supposed to be covered. You were 100% right. And we're going to get them the help they need. So meanwhile, all of this is going on. I said they keep having clients who are coming to them saying, hey, it looks like our identity was stolen. So my client is rightfully angry. And kind of the backdrop to all of this is those breach notification laws. Some of them have very strict timelines between the actual discovery of a breach and when that breach notification needs to go out the door. Now, discovery of a breach, that's not really well defined. So that's not a line that I even want to touch with a 100-foot pole. It's, we got to get the help. We need to figure out what's going on here, because these are, I mean, besides just like me being an insurance guy to my client and me actually liking my clients and me thinking they're good people, they're clients who are having to deal with identity theft. Those are real human beings with real issues. And the faster we can find out, okay, where is this coming from, the sooner that they're going to get help to hopefully, stitch their life back together. If you've ever had to deal with identity theft, it is not a fun experience. So suffice to say, the clock was ticking, and we went from there. Now, all of this is to say, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here, but yes, I'm very passionate about this particular subject area. If you haven't noticed, I'm also very educated in this particular subject area. I'm a former IT. I've got a bachelor's in robotics. I've got a master's in cybersecurity law. I've written best-selling books on this topic. You can get a free copy at the end of this presentation. I will go to war for my clients. Like, I just laid a beating down to this complex claim specialist guy. And like I said, he's the only guy I've ever in my life tried to get fired because he's just so incredibly inept. All of that being said, I am not an attorney at the end of the day. Neither do I actually hold the weight of an attorney. And I will say that not only do attorneys have additional weight to them, but most insurance guys just aren't going to have the background here to really be able to assist most firms. And frankly, I can't do cyber insurance for everybody. That would be impossible. So, as I sit here months, almost over a year later, and I start thinking about, okay, what could I have done better in this circumstance? Where did I fall short? What do I think that I would do in the future differently to try and make this a smoother process besides getting that guy fired? Besides that, it's really, if that firm had an attorney on their side who's well-versed in cybersecurity law that I could have teamed up with to say, okay, this is what the policy says, this is my position, ready, go. And then that attorney sent a letter to the cyber insurance company saying, this is my client's position. And oh, by the way, if you don't reasonably cover this claim, here's all the terrible things that are going to happen to you. I think that just adds a lot more weight and gravity to the situation as opposed to random Joe insurance guy, trying to lay the pipe down to make sure that everyone's staying in line. Now, there's also a bunch of other reasons that I think a lot of businesses just don't understand or they haven't been educated on yet on why a cyber attorney is actually a really good idea for their business. Now, this is before an event ever happens. It's also, say, after an event happens. Now, 99% of policies, there will be a third-party attorney actually assigned to you. In that circumstance I was talking about before, it took forever for that third-party attorney to even be assigned. But in that particular circumstance, there's a lot of stuff that a different cyber attorney directly contracted with your company, they can do a lot of help there. So one of those is attorney-client privilege. So that could be confidential scans, yearly vulnerability assessments. Talk with your attorney, but in some circumstances, you can actually run those vulnerability scans through an attorney. So there's some attorney-client privilege there, as opposed to contracting directly with, say, the penetration testing company. And the reason you may want to consider doing that is if you can keep that information confidential, there are some legal ramifications if you knew about a vulnerability and you didn't fix it. There's a number of cases where that was an issue. So, understanding your business doesn't have unlimited resources, unlimited time, that can actually be quite beneficial for you. Next is dealing with any sort of ongoing assessments, dealing with regulatory compliance issues, facilitating that compliance, counseling, say the business owners, the executives, the board of directors on specific risk management principles in this particular area. Some more reasons that I think an attorney would be beneficial for you is proactive liaisoning with local, state, and federal law enforcement as appropriate, and that's generally before a cyber event actually occurs. Dealing with, if your business has an upcoming merger, acquisition, any sort of corporate transaction, having an attorney who specializes in this field, very, very beneficial for you because there are specific risks that, kind of just the general attorney that your business may have, he just may not be well versed in that. So it's just not something that's particularly on his radar. So he may be focusing on really kind of like the strict M&A terms as opposed to kind of this idea that there could be some cyber risk there. Next is contract review, negotiations. We're increasingly seeing that there's a contractual requirement for cyber insurance, or there's some sort of contract dealing. Part of it is specific cybersecurity measures and controls that have to be in place. Once again, a lot of those contract language provisions or those specific controls, those are generally, in my experience, I've seen them written by in-house attorneys at some other company who aren't particularly well-versed in cybersecurity law or cyber insurance. So 99 times out of 100, that comes across my desk, and then I shoot back an email with, okay, we're going to need a lot of clarification on this. Please ask them to clarify these particular terms, or, hey, this thing is impossible to do. It's not even legal under this area of insurance, whatever the case may be. But an attorney can also assist you with that. Final reasons: enforcing those contractual obligations against third parties, assisting with cyber insurance applications. I think declinations of coverage are going to become much more prevalent as the years progress. Reviewing that policy language. Once again, the average insurance guy, they're just not going to be really specialized or educated in this particular area. So having an attorney who deals with insurance policies anyways, that specializes in cybersecurity law, there's a lot of tricky language out there if you don't know what you're looking for in those cyber insurance applications and inside of the policies. So having an attorney there, they can really assist you with that. And I think it could go quite far for you. And then you always have to understand that as more legislators keep passing these crazy cybersecurity and privacy laws, a lot of those laws are just conflicting. So maybe your business, maybe you're sitting there, and you're watching right now and you're like, my business doesn't have any law that we fall under. Well, that's probably not the case. So you might want to consider reaching out to an attorney. But as you start digging through this, there could be some conflicts there with what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do something. And once again, I do not specialize in that area of the law. I'm not an attorney. So having someone to advise you on, what kind of documentation do you need if someone comes knocking, how to really progress with those conflicts to best protect your business. So that way, if someone does come knocking on your door, you can say, yeah, we were aware of this conflict. This is the legal advice that we got. This is how we were reasonably trying to comply with this. Hopefully that can keep your business out of trouble and keep a lot of embarrassment at bay. And then finally, a lot of these laws, believe it or not, they may have some sort of data destruction, or you could have other laws, depending upon, like, say, the industry you're in, dealing with data retention and data destruction. So there could be a lot of conflict there. So having that attorney to assist you, I think, would be very, very valuable for your business. All right, with that, the more you know. I apologize for getting so heated, but I'm still heated about that topic. And hopefully all of that keeps you out of trouble. If you're ever in doubt, obviously reach out to a cyber attorney. With that, this is Damage Control Cyber Insurance Compliance. That is where you can go to download it for free. And I hope you guys stay safe.